What's going on, everybody? Thanks for tuning in to episode 2 of the NickelJack podcast. My name's Nick Dawson with my co-host here, Jack Nicholas.
How's it going, everybody?
We've got a lot to talk about today, mainly about the NFL draft. It did occur a few days ago. Today is Monday, April 26th. Oh, not Monday, Sunday, April 26th. I don't even know what day of the week it is anymore with
I
all
don't
this
think anybody
coronavirus
does.
stuff going on. No, they
I don't
don't.
think anybody does.
But let's start off where pretty much everybody else is talking about, which is Joe Burrow going to the Cincinnati Bengals from LSU. Everyone knew what was happening, especially himself. He's been studying their playbook for weeks on end, according to Adam Schefter. And he's ahead of a lot of people, and he's really impressed the coaching staff there. I feel like he's going to be a great fit. It'll be interesting to see how they handle the Andy Dalton situation, whether he's going to start right away. Definitely going to be a fight for the starting spot, but whether they can get a trade value out of him or just release him, it will be interesting to see how they approach that.
Yeah, I think it'll be a very similar situation to Cleveland when we drafted Baker Mayfield. I think the first 3 to 4 games, I think Dalton most likely will be the starter. And then if the Bengals struggle early, I think that they'll go to their rookie, and then it'll just be Burrow all the way from there.
Yeah, they ended up drafting an explosive weapon, T. Higgins from Clemson. So it'll be definitely interesting to see how they use that.
Yeah, they've got a ton. Yeah, they got a ton of weapons. They got AJ Green whenever he comes back.
Mm-hmm.
T. Higgins. You got Boyd, and you got the speedster and John Ross too with Joe Mixon. That offense, I think, is gonna be really, really good.
So following with that, we have Chase Young, second overall from Ohio State, going to the Washington Redskins, and Jeffrey Okudah, also from Ohio State, going to the Detroit Lions. That being said, the first 3 picks at one time or another played together at Ohio State. No, Joe Burrow didn't start, graduated from Ohio State, so he gets credit for going to Ohio State, and transferred right away as a graduate transfer to LSU and was granted eligibility immediately, pretty much. Just shows you the amount of talent that can come out of Ohio State and how they're willingly or how consistent they are in producing talent like that, because they've been ridiculous. I mean, this year they did not lead the draft picks, but I believe they've led over the past 10 years, past decade, in producing top the first round draft picks. You have LSU this year led with 14. Ohio State was tied with Michigan for 10. Alabama had 9, and Clemson had 7, and so on. But like I said, it definitely shows the amount of talent that Ohio State is able to build up and throw into the NFL. It's pretty impressive.
Yeah, I think it's a testament to Ryan Day and everything he's been able to do since taking over for Urban Meyer. Obviously, Urban Meyer bringing in a lot of national recruits when he came over, but I think Ryan Day's taken it to the next level. And I think next year will probably be another similar situation for Ohio State, being probably top 2 or 3 for draft prospects.
At least the following 2 or 3 years after that, too, because they are the leader in the 2021 class. They are blowing everybody out of the water with that. That recruitment class is insane.
They're building a juggernaut, yeah.
Yeah, they're building a juggernaut, and I am really interested to see Julian Fleming coming into Ohio State, the top wide receiver in the class for the 2020 class. It'll be really interesting to see. He's 6'3". He's pretty much like a Michael Thomas 2.0. It'll be a lot of fun to watch him and see how far he goes through Ohio State before committing to the NFL.
Yeah, for sure.
All right. So following that, Andrew Thomas from Georgia, offensive lineman, was taken with the 4th overall pick. Are you surprised he went so early?
I am actually pretty surprised. I thought that Wirfs was going to be the first offensive tackle taken. He obviously fell to Tampa Bay, but I think Andrew Thomas was probably the best overall offensive tackle in this class, and I think I think the Giants did really well with that pick. I mean, I'm a little bit surprised, but I think that they probably got, in their eyes, the best tackle there.
Is he better than Jedrick Wills in your mind?
Um,
They're they're so
it's
close with build. I mean, Andrew Thomas is 6'5", 315. Jedrick Wills is 6'4.5", 310. I mean, they're pretty much the same person.
yeah. I think the only concern you have for Wills is he going to be able to make the transfer over to left tackle? But
Mm-hmm.
if he can make that transition smooth, I mean, he's going to be working with Joe Thomas, obviously.
Yeah.
But if he can make that transition, I think that he can be just as good as Andrew Thomas.
Can't forget about Bill Callahan too, one of the best offensive line
No,
coaches
yeah,
in the NFL.
yeah.
Yeah,
I think his transition will be fine. I think,
me too.
yeah,
Let's see here. All right, so then after following Andrew Thomas, we had Tua Tagovailoa
you
go to
got it.
Miami Dolphins, and Justin Herbert, another quarterback, go to the LA Chargers. I was not surprised whatsoever for the Chargers taking a quarterback. With the departure of Philip Rivers, they
Yeah,
definitely need to fill that gap, and they feel like Justin Herbert will be able to accomplish what they need. So that'll be nice. And then after that, a big surprise, probably the biggest surprise in the top 10 was with the
yeah.
Carolina Panthers taking Derek Brown, defensive tackle out of Auburn. And not just saying with that, but Carolina is the first team in the common draft era to take all of their picks in the entire NFL draft and commit them to defensive players. They didn't draft a single offensive player.
Yeah, it's it was surprising too because Isaiah Simmons was still on the board. They were even considering drafting him. They just said that they thought he'd be a better fit somewhere else. But it's definitely interesting. Cam Newton leaves. You think that the Panthers would want to get some more weapons for Teddy Bridgewater over there in Carolina, but it looks like they're just going to be rolling with McCaffrey and the similar offense from last year.
Well, Simmons can pretty much be anywhere where he wants on the field. He can play linebacker. He can play
Yeah.
defensive edge. He can even play the tackle because he's that big.
Mm-hmm.
6'4", 250 if I'm not mistaken, but he's quick as hell. He's extremely versatile. He's really, really talented. He can pretty much be wherever he wants to be on the field, and Arizona definitely got a steal out of that. I don't think they were expecting him to fall that far.
No, I don't think anybody was. I was hoping that the Browns would even consider trading up, or hoping that people would continue to pass on him. But he
Yeah, I
actually
was I was hoping they would trade up, but I mean, no disrespect to Jedrick Wills, definitely a good pick.
no,
Definitely a
yeah,
gap that we needed to fill. And
yeah. Our
like you said,
offensive,
with the mentorship of Joe Thomas and the coaching of Bill Callahan, he'll be completely fine. Because now we have Ryan Coughlin to fill the right tackle gap. So
yeah, we got Conklin over at right tackle. Wills. I think the only real risky you could say position is maybe right guard because
yeah,
they got
I definitely
Petonio and
agree.
Wills on the left side. You got Shredder at center. He's fine. They drafted Nick Harris out of
Mm-hmm.
Washington, who could potentially even compete for that guard spot, maybe,
Yeah,
depending. We'll
but
see.
for right now, we have Wyatt Teller. Not too bad.
Yeah, I mean, he came over from Buffalo, but I
Mm-hmm.
mean, I think I think the offensive line's gonna be a lot better from obviously from last year.
There was a lot of argument with the ninth overall pick going into Jacksonville. C.J. Henderson, cornerback out of Florida, um, arguably the best corner of the draft compared to Jeffrey Okuda. What do you think?
Um, I think it was definitely an interesting pick. I mean, I think that they could have if they wanted to take Henderson, I think he still would have been there in the teens. I think that was a little too early for
Mm-hmm.
him. But I mean, still I think he's going to be a solid player in the league. They their first two picks they took Chison, the linebacker out of LSU at 20. I think their defense is going to be a lot better this year too.
He's extremely efficient in like man coverage, but definitely tackling was an issue for him, especially
Yeah.
last year for the Florida Gators. But I agree. I definitely feel like he would have been available still at 20.
Yeah.
That's where Jacksonville picked. Again, they picked Kalavion Chassian.
Mm-hmm. Is
Correct
it
me if I'm
Chison
wrong with
or
that pronunciation.
is it Chison? Because that's
Chison. Chison. Now Drosser out of LSU. Yeah, I definitely feel like he could have been there, or they could have traded up for him.
mm-hmm.
But I feel like they could have drafted someone else at 9. But still good pick.
Yeah.
Jacksonville needs to add talent back onto their roster for the defensive side of the ball.
Mm-hmm.
And then running out of the top 10, we had Jedrick Wills with Cleveland Browns.
Yeah.
Like I said, definitely good pick.
Smart
Filling a
pick.
good hole. I feel like the transition to left tackle, he'll be fine.
Mm-hmm. What do you think about Henry Ruggs going 12 to the Las Vegas Raiders?
The Las Vegas Raiders, John Gruden and Mike Maycock, they, I mean, don't get me wrong, Henry Ruggs is extremely talented. He's extremely athletic, but I did not see him being the first wide receiver taken off the board. I mean, you also have his counterpart at Alabama, Jerry Jeudy, going to Denver 3 picks later.
Mm-hmm. It
You
it
also have
made
C.D. Lamb.
it made no sense. I mean, it's John Gruden, so are we even really surprised there?
No, because with the 19th pick, they took Damon Arnett.
Yeah, he was projected third rounder. I was hearing a lot of third rounder for Damon Arnett. I I feel you got to feel bad for Raiders fans. They took another wide receiver in the third round. There are two wide receivers in the third round. Bowden Jr. from Kentucky and Brian Edwards from South Carolina.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, the Raiders have plenty of holes that they needed to fill, and they just all their picks were either too early or there was just no reason to take some of the players that they took.
I would have liked to see C.D. Lamb go to Oakland. I feel like that would have been a much better pick.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I agree.
Jerry Jeudy, though, he fits in really well with the Denver Broncos. Denver Broncos
I
arguably had one of the best drafts.
I agree. I think
Surrounding Drew Lock, they believe he is the guy.
they are
Um,
loading up that offense. They got KJ
Yes, they
Hamler. They got KJ Hamler from Penn State. Jerry Jeudy. They got the corner from Iowa. They're basically it. Like all the analysts were saying, they want to compete offensively with Kansas City. They could be just as fast as Kansas City's receivers. They're getting the corners to be able to cover Kansas City's.
Mm-hmm.
And I think Drew Lock and the Denver Broncos are going to be really good this year.
Well, we also have Portland Sutton coming off a
Mm-hmm.
fantastic season last year. He's coming up on his third season out of TCU. Yeah, they're adding a lot of talent. And I do not know how to pronounce the last name, but Drew Lock will also be reuniting with his tight end friend from Missouri, Albert Oku. I'll just put it at that. Okwu. I don't know how to pronounce his last name, but also adding another weapon with him as well. Familiar at best.
What do you think about the Baltimore Ravens draft this year? Arguably, I mean, we thought that the Browns had a great draft. I think the Ravens had the best draft in the entire division, and already being the best team, you gotta be upset.
Top three at least in the entire NFL with the way they drafted. I mean, Lamar being the quarterback that he is, dual threat. They did draft J.K. Dobbins out of Ohio State, with J.K. falling all the way to the pretty much the middle of the second round. I expected J.K. Dobbins to go at the end of the first. Really, I expected him to go to Kansas City.
Yeah, it was kind of surprising that they took Edwards from LSU over J.K. Dobbins. And Baltimore even got a linebacker in the first round, Patrick Queen from
Mm-hmm.
LSU.
Mm-hmm.
They could have potentially two rookie linebackers in their depending on how things go during training camp, and
Yep.
Malik Harrison and Patrick Queen. They could both be starters. I know you're a big Ohio State guy, and that was probably pretty upsetting to see Malik Harrison, the next pick after we took Jacob Phillips, going to
Jacob
Baltimore.
Phillips is not a bad pick, but like I
No.
said, Ohio State produces a ton of NFL talent. Their coaching staff knows what to put into those players, and I feel like that would have been a good pick too. It just disappoints me being an Ohio State fan seeing players like that go to Baltimore because now I can't root for them, but I will a little bit.
Yeah, I think Jacob Phillips is going to be really, really good here too. So I wouldn't be too upset.
An underrated statement here. I feel like Devin Duvernay, wide receiver out of Texas, and James Proche, wide receiver out of SMU. Those guys are going to fit in really, really well. I feel like, especially Proche, he's a speedster. Added a lot of speed on that offense now.
Yeah, I mean you got Hollywood Brown, Lamar Jackson. How is anybody going to be able to guard that team? You got Mark Ingram and J.K. Dobbins, who I think both play very similar. Their styles are very similar. You got Hollywood Brown to throw to. You got Duvernay, Proche. I mean, this offense is it's like Madden.
Yeah, it's electric. Definitely like to see what their ratings are on Madden. That'll be interesting to look at.
What do you think about the Steelers draft?
Steelers draft was okay. It didn't really stand out to me much.
Yeah, I didn't understand the receiver pick. I mean, the Steelers already have a ton of other needs that they could have addressed, and the running back they took from Maryland was there were better running backs on the board when they took them.
Mm-hmm.
And just drafting a bunch of linebackers when they already have a ton of depth there, there just wasn't a lot of. I didn't think that the Steelers had that good of a draft, but
Neither did I. I mean, there was one player that stood out to me that was a steal. I believe that was Kevin Dotson. He's a offensive line guard from the University of Louisiana. Dude's big.
Yeah.
And they got him in the middle of the fourth round. That was a steal. But other than that, I didn't really see anything that stuck out to me. I mean, Chase Claypool, adding another wide receiver from Notre Dame. I mean, we already have Deontay Johnson. I mean, but I don't know. We'll see how it works out. But I don't really think their draft was too great.
Is it time to get into probably the biggest losers of the draft, the Green Bay Packers?
Green Bay Packers, yep. Packers by far. Trading up to get Jordan Love.
Total disrespect to Aaron Rodgers, who was one game away from the Super Bowl, taking no wide receivers in this draft. They took the running back from Boston College. They took a tight end too, but not addressing probably one of the most important things that they could have this entire. It's so disrespectful. Aaron Rodgers probably has a good 3 to 4 years left. There are plenty of quarterbacks they could have taken in next year's draft that are just as good as Jordan Love. I don't see him being the next Aaron Rodgers or the next Brett Favre. I'm surprised that Aaron Rodgers has remained this composed and not at least demanded a trade
me too.
to somewhere else. It's just I don't understand.
Not surrounding him with any talent whatsoever. It's really disappointing because they were pretty good last year. They were 13-3 with everything that was going on. And I don't know. The NFC North as a whole wasn't drafting very well at all.
No.
I mean, I can also pair them with the Chicago Bears. The Chicago Bears didn't stand out to me at all whatsoever. They didn't really surround Mitch Trubisky with any talent until like the late 5th round.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, they did draft. They drafted the first tight end that came off the board in the 2nd round, Cole Kmet, I believe. But other than that, they. I don't know if do you believe that Mitch Trubisky is the guy, or do you believe that Cam Newton might go there?
I think that the Bears should consider signing Cam Newton. I mean, I don't think Mitch Trubisky. I think he's like a bridge guy to until you find that franchise guy. But I don't think that he's a guy that really stands out and can take you to that next level to compete for a Super Bowl.
Talk about quarterbacks, so we can transition real quick to Jameis Winston finalizing a 1-year deal with the New Orleans Saints. And who called that last episode?
Listen, NFL GMs, sign me as a. I'm here. I think it made the most sense. I mean, Drew Brees probably has 1 to 2 years left. I mean, it makes the most sense. Jameis can sit behind Drew Brees. Then they can still use Hill to play a bunch of. You can still play wide receiver, tight end, running back. It just they now have a solid backup quarterback that can hopefully, and I think he can be the guy after Drew Brees eventually retires. I think they made too much sense.
I wasn't surprised by it at all. I mean, a little bit because he's going to another team in the same division as his Tampa Bay Buccaneers.
You think Cam Newton's gonna get signed by the Patriots? Because I know Bill said that they were considering drafting a quarterback, but it
wasn't in the plan. It wasn't part of the process. Whatever that means.
You think that they're gonna because they had an interesting draft too. I don't think that their draft really stood out.
I guess that's what happens when your dog drafts for you.
That was awesome.
Yeah.
I think the Cowboys had a really good draft too. I mean, just giving Dak Prescott more weapons. Stephon Diggs' brother.
I'm so excited to see CeeDee Lamb in Dallas. I'm so excited to see CeeDee Lamb in Dallas. It's going to be so interesting.
You think?
I really like that.
When do you think the Cowboys are gonna pay Dak Prescott? Because I mean, they keep signing everybody else. They signed Cooper. They signed Elliott. When is he gonna get his money?
Just a matter of time. I really don't know. I don't know what Jerry Jones is doing. Just pay him.
What did you think of him making his picks from his what is it, $250 million, $250,000 yacht? Do we even know where that yacht was?
No. Let's be real. It's probably in his driveway. Maybe not.
Yeah, that's just like if you're Dak Prescott, you gotta be like, are you kidding me? Like you're chilling out on this yacht wherever the hell you are, and
I guess that's what happens when you're the GM of your team. I mean, the owner of the Dallas Cowboys does what he wants. You own a team, you do what you want. No other way around it.
What do you?
That's the way I look at it.
I think the Colts had a really good draft too. I think getting Michael Pittman, another weapon for Phillip Rivers, Jonathan Taylor, one of the best running backs in this draft. I think he's going to give them a ton of production. They're taking Jacob Eason, who can sit behind Phillip Rivers. I think they had one of the better drafts. The Rams was okay. I think the Giants had a good draft too, surprisingly, taking Xavier McKinney in the second round.
Hmm.
I was pissed. I wanted him
Yeah, I
bad.
wanted him very badly. I'm really excited, to be completely honest with you, to see this Indy offense. Philip Rivers, you have Jonathan Taylor that has a lot of potential. Um, you got Michael Pittman, like you said,
Hmm.
added him to the roster from USC. And you got one of the best wide receivers in the league in T.Y. Hilton.
Yeah.
So, and now Philip Rivers gets to play indoors. He doesn't have to worry about the
No,
weather,
it doesn't. What do
or
you
at
think
least
of?
for half the season.
Do you think that Sam Darnold? What do you think about the Jets taking a quarterback in the fourth round? You think that that's You think that that's
James Morgan, right?
yeah?
Yep, from FIU.
You
First
think
started his career with Bowling Green, and then with the coaching change, had to go to Florida International University and stood out right away. I don't know. Is Sam Darnold a quarterback to actually learn from? Not so much as Philip Rivers. Um, so that was a very interesting pick to me because I feel like
I
James
didn't
Morgan
understand it?
could could actually be a starting quarterback somewhere. Um,
Mm.
I didn't really understand it. I feel like Belichick might have been a little pissed that the Jets took James Morgan because he wanted to pick him next.
What did you Obviously this wasn't a pick really, but day one of the NFL draft, some funny moments. One of them being Tennessee Titans, the Mike Vrabel household, with the what was it, his son, where it looked like he was
Oh, like in the toilet bowl or whatever.
yeah, taking a number two behind
That was
behind.
so weird.
One thing I wanted to get into was and I know you had an issue with this too, is ESPN after every pick giving completely unnecessary information to about every single player. I mean, T. Higgins, where it talked about his mom battling drug addiction for 16 years. That's completely unnecessary.
Did you see his response to it?
No, I did not.
Yeah, he actually quoted it here. I'll pull it up on Twitter here real quick. And you can cut this little segment out too. Remember to do that.
Mhm.
All right. So what T. Higgins said on Twitter, quote, I'm proud of my mom for turning her life around for me and my sister. I have no problem with them showing the world that my mom is a true fighter.
Hey, that's not a bad response. There was another I forget which player it was, but they talked about how he was accused of sexual assault and then the next year found not guilty, and they still put that as some of his draft information.
I thought that was completely unnecessary.
Yeah, I mean the dude
Like, why do that?
just. And then the shot at Youngstown, Ohio, from Trey Wingo. Did you catch that one?
I did not see that.
No, he I forget the exact words that he said, but he tried to make Youngstown look like it was in the middle of like the ghetto. I was like, are you kidding me? Like, but I mean that's just typical everybody just bashing every like
What
Northeast
what
Ohio.
problems do people have with Ohio? I don't understand. A lot of people that say like that Cleveland sucks have never
Mhm.
been to Cleveland before. They just hear it through the ear.
And then when they come here, they're just like, wow, they're great people. There's a ton of good food here. Like
Hmm.
they have great fans. I
That's the way that everyone's gonna feel once the draft is hosted here next year for the
Yeah, thank.
2021
It's gonna
NFL
be so
draft,
awesome. It's gonna be
and
so
then in
awesome.
2022 the NBA All Star Game.
Cleveland's making
Very excited for that.
big
They
moves in the
are.
sports.
They
Um,
are. And with all those events happening, I really feel like that Cleveland's population might have a population boom here in the next decade or so.
I would definitely not be surprised, especially All of us getting older. I see a lot of us eventually moving into the into downtown Cleveland, and there's tons of apartments being built. I I think it's a great time to be in Cleveland.
Well, not just the city of Cleveland. Maybe that won't see the biggest boom that I would want it to see, but the suburbs are Greater Cleveland as a whole is definitely growing. It's really insane.
Yeah, and there's a big boom in the entertainment industry wanting to bring it. There's a lot of stuff being filmed here. I th- I mean, it's a way cheaper option than New York or in LA or Atlanta. I don't understand why more people don't film stuff here. It doesn't make any sense to me.
Yeah, everybody's going to Columbus, but maybe some people will come back. Who knows?
Um, are there any other big winners or losers you thought that stood out to you?
I felt like Cincinnati was a winner. I mean, they had the first overall pick. I mean, you can't really
Yeah.
go wrong with that. I mean, Joe Burrow. Some people think he might be a bust, but I see a lot of potential in him. He really improved his senior year at LSU. Um, I
Yeah,
definitely saw
I think he'll
them
be fine.
as a winner. Loser, definitely Green Bay.
Yeah.
New England is kind of down there. They didn't have the best draft. Um,
Pittsburgh was mediocre. I think the AFC North, except for Pittsburgh, were big winners. You have Dallas. Minnesota didn't have that good of a draft, like you said earlier.
mm-hmm.
Um, Oakland, I thought, did not have a good draft. Uh, the Broncos, I think, had a good draft. Kansas City had a good draft. I mean, getting some more weapons for Patrick Mahomes. I mean, there's nothing you can really be upset about over there.
I feel like the Titans had a decent draft too. Um, I liked seeing that running back out of Appalachian State, Darrington Evans, be drafted. But pairing him up with Derrick Henry is going to be an explosive backfield, and the type of energy that Tennessee is going to have coming into this season is going to be unlike anything we've seen before. Um, they really wanted to go to the Super Bowl last year,
Mm-hmm.
and they really gave Kansas City a run for their money. Even though they ended up losing 35-24, they were in that game from the start to the end. And Ryan Tannehill is coming off arguably the best season of his career. And with Derrick Henry, one of the best backs in the league, and Tennessee's defense is actually pretty decent. They have a
Mm-hmm.
lot of weapons on offense. They have arguably who should have been the rookie of the year in A.J. Brown and Corey Davis. They have a lot of
Yeah.
versatile wide receivers
Yeah, and
running down the field.
they took the tackle Isaiah Wilson in the first round. Was he the? I'm pretty sure he was the one whose girlfriend was trying to give him that super low. He was the viral video where his mom dragged. I don't know if you saw it, where his mom dragged the
Yeah,
girlfriend.
I think that was him. Yes. Yep.
I think Tennessee. Tennessee had a good draft.
Definitely filling the
Washington, I think.
hole of Jack Conklin coming to Cleveland. I don't know why I said Ryan Conklin earlier. Jack Conklin. I'm going to
Yeah,
correct myself right there.
so
But yeah,
that's
definitely
your
filling the hole
second.
for that.
That's your second mess up, Melvin Gordon. The our first episode.
Whatever. I didn't even know that, but I knew that I messed up with his name today. So I'm just gonna leave that there.
What did you
I
think of?
caught myself.
What
I
did
didn't
you
catch
think?
myself last time.
What did you think of the San Francisco 49ers taking Javon Kinglaw with their first selection?
That was I didn't really see that coming.
No,
To
yeah,
be completely honest.
I mean they added more depth, but they needed to get another receiver. Jerry Jeudy was still on the
They
board.
do.
CD Lamb was still on the board. I mean,
Mm-hmm.
it didn't
I didn't
make
really
any
see that
sense.
coming. Like you would have Emmanuel Sanders depart, and he didn't even play with them for a full year, and now you traded away Marquise Goodwin.
To the
I mean,
Philadelphia Eagles.
dude's kind of glass. He's so injury prone, but he has so much potential. But they did draft a wide receiver at the end of the first round. You can't forget about Brandon Ayuk.
Mm.
So from Arizona State, he was in the top 4 wide receivers in the class. So I don't know, Javon Kinlaw, you might pair up really really well with Bosa and everybody else they have on that line because that D line is scary.
Yeah, I think
Going back to the Super Bowl again. Who knows?
the Eagles had a really. I don't think that the Eagles had a good.
Interesting.
Yeah, taking Jalen
Jalen
Hurts.
Hurts.
They apparently want to run a 2 quarterback system with Wentz and Hurts playing at the same time. I mean,
That'll be a sight to see.
they took Jalen Rieger
Mm,
with their first pick. I think
good pick.
that was. I think it was a little bit early though. Don't you think?
I kind of liked it. I don't know. He kind of reminds you though of Nelson Aguilar.
Mm-hmm.
Um, speedster though, out of TCU. I don't know. I kind of liked it.
I'm trying to see. I think Seattle had a solid draft. Tampa Bay had a good draft, taking worse in the first round. And then Winfield Jr. His
Mm-hmm.
dad was a former Buckeye. They both have a similar playing style. I think Tampa Bay they had a really good draft too.
Yeah, one of the winners as well. Definitely trying to help Tom Brady out as much as possible.
Um, I don't think we talked. We did we get? I think the Dolphins had a mediocre draft. Really, I mean they.
Really, you think so?
Yeah, I just.
I mean, that trade that they made, that was impressive. I didn't see that coming with Matt Breida.
Yeah, I don't until they get to us some receivers. I don't I don't see the Dolphins really competing for much of anything. I don't. I mean, they got the tackle Austin Jackson, but I
Mm-hmm.
think because who do they have? Who do they have a receiver right now?
They have Devontae Parker, and they have oh my God, what's his name? I can't remember the other guy's name, and he's technically considered to brick wall blitz better than Devontae Parker.
Brickwall Blitz says this.
Yes, he sure does. All right, the Dolphins have Allen Hurns. You have Devontae Parker and Allen Hurns. Allen Hurns coming off a mediocre season with Dallas.
Mm-hmm.
I definitely feel like he would have fit in a lot more there. I was expecting a lot more from him. I'll just put it at that. But yeah, you got Allen Hurns and Devontae Parker. I don't know. Is Tua going to be the answer?
I personally I wasn't really sold on any of these quarterbacks in this class, so I think Burrow, I think, will be the most likely to succeed. I think he was put in the. Well, I mean, I think Herbert was put in a better position than Joe Burrow, but I think Joe Burrow will probably be the best out of this class. I don't really see. I didn't really see much quarterback wise from this draft class. I think next year's will be a lot better than this year's, and yeah, I don't know. I still need to see a little bit more from Tua before I really think that he can be a solid NFL quarterback.
Any predictions for early predictions for Rookie of the Year?
Probably. I think. I think if AJ Green can come back healthy, I think Joe Burrow might have a really good year. Who do you think?
I was either thinking him or CD Lamb. If the Cowboys finally give Dak his money, I feel like CeeDee Lamb will just go off.
Mm-hmm.
Might stir Amari Cooper a little bit away from the team, but if you're improving your team, who cares, right?
Yeah. No.
How do you just say one of those two guys?
Yeah, I think that this was a solid draft in general. I was pretty nervous, honestly, about the whole virtual draft thing. I think that
Mm-hmm.
the picks were coming in really quick. It seemed like most of the players were content with being with their family and then getting the quick little thing on TV. I mean, do you think that this is something not every year that we could do, but every couple of years, sort of doing a virtual draft?
Well, I mean, we're technically kind of used to it because when the NFL draft is live somewhere, you don't have every single prospect there. Not every single prospect can attend. They're just gonna be watching from home, so they're kind of used to it. A lot like I think pretty much every single prospect. It was 57 prospects that were potential number one round one picks. Were sent all 32 hats, and I think that's usually how it happens if you're staying at home.
Mm-hmm.
But sent 32 hats, and you're sponsored by like Buffalo Wild Wings, Pizza Hut. Sent a ton of food. I think
Yeah.
it was really good. I think it beside all the stuff that ESPN said about some players, I felt like it went really well.
Yeah, I think a
I
lot of
enjoyed it.
people. I think a lot of people actually started to like Roger Goodell even a little bit. You got Jerry Judy doing the TikTok, all the pictures of Roger Goodell like laying back on his chair. I think that people gained a little bit of a soft spot for him, which is good. I think that I think it was a great experience overall. I mean, we had our friend group Zoom,
Mhm.
all the reactions of the different surprises. I think that it was overall. I think it was a great experience.
Yeah, at a scale of 1 to 10, I'd probably rate it in probably a 9,
Yeah, I
eight
was
and a
gonna,
half, eight
I
and a
was
half,
I was gonna say 8, but
eight
I
and a
mean right
half.
around yeah.
Yep. So, catching up next time for our next episode on NickelJack episode 3. We're gonna probably get into the Michael Jordan LeBron conversation again with a Michael Jordan documentary coming out,
Yeah, it's
and
fantastic.
also talking about top undrafted free agents that were signed, especially by the Browns and so on, and any other topics that come upon. Hopefully, maybe by the time we can hear a little bit more about the NBA, as that
Yeah,
is still ongoing.
they're supposedly trying to get a couple of the teams are trying to get their players back on the court for practice. So we might maybe see some, if not regular season, but at least some playoff basketball, at least from the NBA, which would be nice.
Where it's lawfully allowed, at
Mm-hmm.
least. That's where they'll be opening up some facilities. All
Yeah, I
right.
think that this was a good episode. We'll catch you guys next week.
Thanks for tuning in to NickelJack.